Appreciate the opportunity to provide a brief update on our schools and the district at large. I want to begin by thanking the community for their support last week. The votes for the 23-24 school budget were very positive, and 2 new trustees were elected. Also on that night, with the support of our school staff and the parent groups, BRS had a very successful art show and bake sale. And we barbecued hundreds of hot dogs and hamburgers for the community, which was just so fun. The barbecue made a profit of a couple of $100, and those proceeds were donated to Break the Hold. It was a really great night and a great week of success. Again, just the positive support from our community demonstrates the value placed on education and how important our schools are to our community. So thank you to everyone who came out and voted. Also, with the support of our parent groups, BRS had their Main Street math, and they also had a wonderful field day last week. Our 8th graders had a wonderful trip to Washington, D.C., and we have also moved our district forward with the install, configuration, training, and rollout of our new visitor protocols. We've done some debrief on how things are going. As with anything new, we're working out a couple of the kinks and the application of some of our visitor protocols, but overall a very successful implementation of a new practice for Pleasantville. On the same note of safety, last night we had a school safety forum. Thank you, Jill. Thank you, Emily, for attending last night. I want to publicly thank the police chief and our partners with Alteris, who were also part of the panel discussion with me. I also want to thank Diana Nessel, who represented the voice of the parent and read the questions out loud that folks sent in and submitted to us. I appreciate her being there and contributing. It was really a great opportunity for me to provide some information. I told the group there's a couple of things that I feel like I repeatedly say about school safety, so being able to share those things, being able to engage in the Q&A. Again, people sent in questions ahead of time, so we were able to be thoughtful about our responses to the concerns, questions, and things that the community said. And then the third part of the evening was a listening tour. So we really just gave everyone an opportunity to provide additional feedback. Some were formed in the way of a question, give us ideas, and just talk to us about where they're at in their headspace with topics as they relate to safety. So it was a great opportunity. We had about 20 parents and about 20 community members, parents, guardians, family members of students or prospective students, as well as I said, our board members, our presenters, and a host of our own administration that came out for the event. So thank you to those folks, and thank you to my partners for creating a space where we can have discourse about school safety and about what's on people's minds. So it was, would say, a successful night, and I would say it was because they asked for more. One of the people there asked for more. So again, just a really good experience and a nice setup for trying something new in the way of engagement with the community.
You know, one of the things that came to me about the meeting, though, is every district is different. The physical structures of the districts are all different. Yeah. So the needs of safety are different. And it gave you the opportunity to highlight, because people were asking questions and wondering things, but Pleasantville, given where our buildings are, given where our police department is, and you were able to respond to that. Because it's hard when, and we get this a lot, well, that district is doing this, and that district, but we're unique. Each place is unique, so you were able to highlight that. I think that was really helpful.
Thank you. Lastly, another big initiative in the district, and I want to thank Emily for her participation in this endeavor as well, is for the past 3 Mondays, for an hour and a half each, we have had an artificial intelligence, AI task force that has met. And the purpose of the task force was really to engage multiple stakeholders. We had students, we had parents and families from like within the industry, from other industries. We picked a representative of all of the buildings, but also like people with different, when they applied, had all different, like, we're at different levels of entry. So from using it to not even knowing what it was. We had students, did I say that already? Students, parents, administrators, teachers, all came together in a space to really explore AI and to think through what might be possible applications in our school district. So a lot of like think tank kind of work. Not that we have an answer or a protocol or something like that, but just really thinking through its influence in our school district. One of the things I said at one of our first meetings, and I think it's come back to me in a positive way, at both of the subsequent meetings, was that this is not a matter of if, it's a matter of when and how. AI is in our world. It's in the hands of our students. It's accessible for all of us as adults. And it's a matter of how is it going to come together in a responsible, appropriate way for our district. So again, it's not like I have a solution or an answer, but just really starting the conversation from multiple stakeholders. So I will be following up with some writings about that to the community and sort of understanding both the safety forum and the work of that AI task force. So stay tuned for more on that. That is the conclusion of my report. Thank you.
I just want to say that I find it very exciting, the approach that we're taking to the artificial intelligence, embracing it. It's here, it's part of life moving forward, and to be able to take a smart approach and think about how it can be used to really enhance student learning is amazing. So thank you for that.
My pleasure. My thinking about it from the superintendent role changed from the first 5 or 10 minutes from session 1 to the end of that hour and a half. This is evolving technology. And I think I like to come at things like saying, okay, so this is what this is, and this is what our plan's gonna be for how we're gonna approach this. And by the end, I was like, wow, this is so undefined. And it's changing. It's gonna be a butterfly one day. I just don't know when, and it's gonna be like part of our world. The changes that it's going through and how we're gonna be able to respond has to be in that same vein. Like going in with an idea for how we're gonna approach this, and what our responsibilities are gonna be to our students and making sure that they are future ready. It's just, sometimes it's a little unnerving, to not know and to not have that tangible, so I know this, so now I can teach it to you, as opposed to a different kind of approach of thinking like, we're gonna figure this out together, and what we figure out today, it might look differently like next month. So just a really very groundbreaking, organic thought process around this, and bringing the students had such a great voice. We had a middle school student, we had a high school student, we had other students that could come as they were available. So we had 2 students that came every single time for the whole time. And then we had other students that came in, and just really hearing them and listening to them. We had teachers from all disciplines, from social studies to math, to every subject in between at all 3 different levels that we have schools. It's just really groundbreaking kind of work. Again, like I said,
yeah, that's
parents,
important because it could be used differently by different subjects, and it's just, I applaud you for being proactive in how we're going to deal with this as opposed to reactive.
And
really
I have to give credit to Dr. Faggio, who facilitated the whole process. We had used the task force model, as you know, previously this year, with the visitor protocols and then with the reunification. So when we were talking about well, what are we gonna do? And really, and even like, and what are we gonna do? You know, like the other task forces, it was like, we have a task that the force is going to complete. So when we're even talking about this, like we're gonna be bringing people together, but this is so evolutionary right around us. Two different versions, or one different version, all these different versions came out during the course of those 3 weeks. So by the third week, we were doing comparisons of, what was it, GPT 3.5 to GPT 4.0.
Right.
So even that, you know, just I think speaks to the rate at which things are happening, and the fact is, ready or not, here it comes, right? It's here, and it's going to be part of our lives, and we might not have the full thinking through of how it's going to impact us or what it's going to be, but that doesn't mean that we should sit back and wait. So more to come in the AI world.
What I found interesting about what it does is we think of Google, you know, and you put something in the Google search bar and it'll give you articles to read to figure out what that content is about. This summarizes and kind of talks to you. And so if you give it a question, it will summarize it, it will pull information from the universe up to 2021 and talk to you. So we asked it to build a doghouse, and it gave us all the information that was needed. We had to give it parameters, the size of the dog, and the kind of material we wanted, and it told us how to build a doghouse. And I was on a couple of times with the different teachers. So one parent was concerned about writing. How is this going to impact the students' writing skills? And the teacher was like, well, I do writing on demand in the classroom. So, you know, because that's a concern that some students or teachers are the students not going to be writing. But it's fascinating because it can give you a different approach. So you can ask it, give me 3 different ways of solving this problem. So think about chemistry or math or any content that a student might be struggling with, and the teacher has taught it in this way, but you know, we've got so many different brains in the classroom. It's like, give me another way of give me 3 different ways. And that was what Cameron expressed. He wanted it to analyze some of our comments, and he found he had to give it quite narrowed instructions. So it's partly it's learning how to talk to it, because if it's too broad, you're going to get a very, very broad answer that doesn't really answer your question. So it's learning how to talk to it. But having the opportunity to say, you know, I don't understand this chemical equation, you know, this chemistry topic. Can you explain it to me in 3 different ways on a 10th grade level? Boom, you're going to get that. And it's like, oh, okay. So I love that educational tool that can help our students learn the material.
Well, it can help our teachers have different ways
And
of presenting the information.
And that's another thing. You know, the teacher is teaching this, you know, the Odyssey, right? They teach the Odyssey every year. Can you give me another way, another exercise in working with the students in the classroom? So it gives the teacher some additional material.
It's got a lot of potential applications.
Right, but you give it, you know, if you say, just give me some examples on some exercises for the Odyssey, well, what grade level? So when you say 10th grade versus college grade versus 7th grade. So it's changing. Like you said, Dr. Zasada, right? In 3 weeks, they came up with a new version is ready, so. Woohoo! And I was with Nicole on 3 of the groups. It was good, and her son was there. It was good.
Nice.